Coming to you from our opulent and luxurious 4x8 refurbished broom closet at the national headquarters in Indianapolis. With duct tape studio lights and a mic that you barely can hear, we hope to entertain and educate you. This is the Tango Alpha Lima podcast.
They call me crazy because I'm facing all my giants. They try to scare me into thinking I can fight it. They tell me I should never even think of trying. But that's just me, I'm gonna live out in defiance.
Hello, and welcome back to the Tango Alpha Lima podcast. I'm your host, Mark Seavey, and my reverse image clone over there wearing the same hat is Jeff Daly of the Hollywood Dailies. I am
not of the Hollywood Dailies. I'm of the Michigan Daily, located
Daily.
in Hollywood.
Are we still?
I'm your carbon
Hollywood
copy.
adjacent.
I'm sorry. Are we still admitting we're from Michigan?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. You know,
Each his own.
Michigan State debacle. I don't know, brother.
That was like a month ago.
Yeah, I know, but I still haven't gotten over it yet. And of course, the lovely Ashley Garbolja Maldonado, whose middle name is Marie. I have subsequently been told here. How are you today?
I'm quite well, Mark.
You look
quite
happy.
Well.
You look happy.
I am. There was a certain comment made that has just filled my heart with joy. And
were you de-Grinchified? Your heart
yes,
grew?
My heart grew three
sizes. I mean, that'll cause a heart attack, but I mean, good for the Grinch, I guess. Yeah. My kids are super excited because they do have some sort of like breakfast lined up with the Grinch. The Grinch really never struck me as, I mean, he's all right. I like the dog, whatever.
Max.
I don't know. Yeah, Max. Yeah, Max is pretty cool. All right. Well, anyway, let's get to the our nerdgasm here we're about to have. We are joined today by Stephen Shanghai Six Machuga. He's the founder and CEO of Stack Up, an organization founded in 2015 to bring veterans and civilian supporters together through a shared love of video gaming. If you can tell, I'm reading something. I am, and I moved it over here so that I wouldn't be looking off to the side. So there you go. Stephen attended Purdue University on an ROTC scholarship, graduated in 1998 with a degree in Russian linguistics. In the Army, he was an infantry officer, military intelligence officer, and an airborne ranger. Lead the way. He spent most of his service at Fort Bragg with the 82nd Airborne. In 2003, when he was sent to Iraq with the 2nd Infantry Division, video games not only helped Stephen through the seemingly endless 13-month deployment, but also helped ease his struggles with anxiety when he returned home. After leaving the Army in 2006, Stephen moved to Washington, D.C. and spent a decade working as a government counterterrorism analyst and volunteering with charitable organizations in his free time. His work with charities and the memory of how video games helped him eventually led him to launch Stack Up to support his brothers and sisters in arms. Today, Stephen lives in Los Angeles, California, where he's a member of the Ronald Reagan, or Ronaldus Maximus Reagan, as I called him before, Ronald Reagan American Legion Post 283 in Pacific Palisades. So after this quick commercial break, we will be back with Stephen. Elite.
There's nothing better than seeing a child's face light up at Christmas. This year, the American Legion is joining forces with the Marine Corps Reserve Toys for Tots program to make sure that winter supply shortages and price increases don't prevent happy smiles this holiday season. We're concentrating our efforts on areas where there are service gaps that the American Legion can fill. To find out how you can help, visit toysfortots.org/campaigns.
Stephen, thanks for joining us. Last time I saw you, I think we were enjoying a cold adult beverage together.
We certainly were. Phoenix, Arizona, 100 degrees at midnight.
Yeah,
you better believe it.
It was fairly brutal, but thank you very much for joining us. Holly writes that I'm not supposed to go too far down the World of Warcraft rabbit hole here today, which I mean is a shame, but she apparently thinks it would be 6 hours long, right? I mean, come on.
Tell me, give me a little taste. What are you still playing?
So I have not since I played the last expansion to get up to level, and then I was like, you know what, this is turning into a full-time job on top of my full-time job. But I am playing Lord of the Rings online. Also, not a great hobby because it's a pretty time intensive. But nonetheless, I could see Ashley's face, and I know how eager she is to go. I know you guys are more first-person shooter type oriented, and Ashley, you are. And I should preface this by saying Ashley is gamer adjacent through her husband, and Jeff Daly will have absolutely no idea what we're talking about. So we are good to go here.
Got a
across the
great
board.
Well, you can
Great
translate for the other two then.
Yeah.
What's that bleep bloop he's talking about? All right.
Pew, pew, pew.
Yeah, exactly.
Ash, go.
Okay. So just to clarify, yes, video game adjacent. My husband is in esports, rep for Washington, D.C. National Guard, Army National Guard.
Really?
Yeah. So
Interesting.
I have somewhat knowledge of the games played, why they do it, why it's important. It's really like a keystone and just like connecting with folks from all over the world, country, old battle buddies, all the things. I myself only play like some old school games. I can't do first shooter. I'm gonna just I've told Air Force folks is too, like I'm just kind of one of those, like I find the button and then I just kind of like turn my analog so that like I'm in a circle and I just suppressive fire in a circle.
Pew, pew, pew.
Like that is my tactic.
I
That
just
is
saw
what
somebody.
do.
I just saw somebody the other day like making fun of somebody who is not good at first person shooters, and when you have the camera pointed up and you're rolling around in a circle, you go in a circle like that and you can't control it. It's and you see the avatar just spinning in place in a
Yep, that's
circle
me.
looking upwards. I was like,
That's me.
that might be what she's talking about here.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
It's pretty comedic. I definitely have made a lot of people laugh and a lot of people frustrated. What are you doing? I was like, I don't know. Turn your
I have
mic off.
never-
Get out of
I
my
have
game,
never
and then get
had-
kicked out of the group.
I've never had a drink of coffee in my life, and I need one so desperately right now.
So sorry to bore you, Jeff.
Make it Irish, my friend.
So, all right. So we will lead in with this. So, Army veteran, high speed, you're a military intelligence officer, airborne ranger,
Well,
all of the things,
all
right?
of them.
All of them.
Once used to be hard.
Yes. Right? No. Okay. Anyway, so from your time in service, tell us a little bit about your service experience and how this led to your current trajectory with Stack Up.
So I went into the military under an ROTC scholarship out of Purdue University back in the day. And it became the brotherhood I didn't know that I needed. Like it was the fraternity that I just fell in love with it. I wasn't a sports guy growing up in high school. So this turned into this thing where it's like, oh, this is the best fraternity I could have joined. This is amazing. I had a great time in college, great time getting ready to go into the military. And then I got into the military and it's like, oh, this is just a job. Okay. I mean, it's a really cool job as an infantry officer, but it was, out of Fort Bragg, getting thrown out of perfectly good aircraft and all that good stuff. But the reality kind of sunk in where it's like, oh, this is real now. Now, and this is pre 9/11. So it was this training exercise. There wasn't really anything going on. I had wanted to go into the service as a linguist because I spoke Russian back in the day. And I did end up getting to use that for a little bit, but I was planning on doing 4 and getting out. And then 9/11 happened. That kind of flipped the script there. And then, so I did a tour overseas in Iraq after I got back from Kosovo. And boy, that was something. Be careful what you wish for. Like you ever, as a young infantry officer, I wanted to go get me some more and go shoot the bad guys. And within 3 weeks of being over, I'm like, this is a huge mistake. What the hell was I thinking? So, and then proceeded to spend another 13 months over there. So the first 6 were pretty intense. I was with the 1st Striker Brigade in Iraq in 03, 04. And it was pretty intense. And then the last 6 months I ended up shipping up to Mosul, and it was like being on vacation in comparison. It was great. We get mortared every now and again, and that was the extent of me getting shot at. So things turned down pretty quickly. And it was great. But how that all tracked in all of this. So while I was deployed forward, the story that goes that while I was attached to an infantry company as an intel guy, and there's a bunch of guys for the most part. And we got a crate full of third-hand Harlequin romance novels donated to us. And that was kind of like and anybody who's been deployed forward post 9/11 knows the pain of getting boxes from back home and you open them up and you're like, oh boy, what's this going to be? Oh, crap. It's wet wipes or it's baby powder. It's baby powder mixed in with cookies. So they've been sitting in the hot sun in the post office, and now these cookies taste like baby powder. All those fun and games of people back home wanting to help out, but just boxing up whatever nonsense they could and sending it over and thinking we're in the middle of the Vietnam War over there with like just wet wipes and just all wet wipes, just Connexes full of very basic supplies, very inexpensive. I'm helping, but not really helping kind of mindset. And so I got out, was working in DC as a government contractor for a while, doing great things, making a lot of money. And while I was out, one of my guys went back in. He got out, went back in, and was immediately sent over to Afghanistan. And while he was over there, he asked me like, "Hey, could you send us an Xbox or something? We're losing our minds over here. There's nothing to do. They shut down our MWR, whatever, yada yada yada." I was like, "Yeah, sure. Let me see what I could do." So I reached out to some studios that I had connections to, and the response back was just overwhelming. It was huge, like just pallets of stuff sent to us. And by us, I mean me and my basement. So boxed up a bunch of it, sent it over there. We got back these really awesome pictures of him doing a Guitar Hero competition on the side of a Connex. They were using a stolen briefing projector. It was great. It was really good stuff. They're all smoking cigars and wearing Stetsons. It was something else. But you give one Joe an Xbox, and next thing you know, I started getting emails going, "Well, hey, can you do that for us?" And I still had plenty of stuff sitting in my basement. And I was like, I think we might be onto something. And that was the impetus. That was 2010 of how this all got started. Now, flash forward 10 years, we've grown up a lot. We've changed, we've added programs. So we also have our Air Assault program where we fly disabled and deserving veterans to various gaming events like E3, Comic-Con, studio tours, Disneyland out here in LA. We have our Stacks program where we have like 30 plus teams nationwide that go out and do volunteer work in their neighborhoods. And then lastly, we have our 24/7 suicide prevention team online, the Overwatch program, which is peer-based counseling for folks, for veterans who are just struggling. You know, we're taking a crack at that whole 22 a day number that we're in the 30s now, I think. So yeah, we're throwing everything we can against the whole veteran mental health conversation through gaming and geek culture. And that's us. That's how we transitioned.
I just want to be, there's something that you said, Comic-Con. You send people to Comic-Con. It's very important. I just want to make sure I heard that.
Oh, did we find a pressure point there?
Yeah.
Yes, we do. And we just got back from New York Comic-Con a couple of weeks ago, which was, it's nice to be back out there.
So peanut butter and jealous. Oh,
okay. Well, they have, so San Diego Comic-Con is happening this year, and it's happening over Thanksgiving weekend of all things. So it's going to be a weird one. It's going to be real strange. So we're scouting it out to see if they gave us booth space, and for San Diego Comic-Con to give us booth space, like, this is going to be one of those, there's nobody here. If you're giving us booth space, like Marvel ain't showing up. If you get my meaning. So, but yeah, so Comic-Con, huh? All right. So that's what's your poison over there?
It's so funny you say that because I just dressed up and did cosplay Poison Ivy, like the original like DC.
I was nervous
like
we
Betty
were going to
Page
have
style.
I was nervous we were going to have a furry reference there, and I was
furries. No.
I was going to say, I'm like, that's out of my lane, but okay.
No, yeah. So I just did like a Pamela Isley like cosplay. I literally did 4 different renditions of Poison Ivy to include like 1997 Batman and Robin. I think it's
wow,
Uma Thurman.
Yeah.
So I did like a whole like thing.
Sorry, I just keep looking at Jeff square in the corner.
This is just like whatever.
This is what
no like
photos.
No like
Facebook, whatever. And my Instagram. It's cool.
Ashley, we do have to get out of here sometime today.
Yeah. Well, you'll make up for it, I'm sure. Here, you'll be like, "What's your name again?" Okay, back to Mark.
Now, really quick, I want to talk about. So we don't have gaming in common. That's been clear. We do have some other things in common, though. This Russian linguist thing, I'm not one, but I had orders to DLI until I saw the extension, and so I was going to go to Monterey and be a Russian linguist, and I go back and I'm just mindlessly signing the papers, and then something made me stop on one, and I go, "What is this?" And they said, "Well, that's an extension, so you have to extend to go to that school because it's so long, right?"
Right, it's a year long. So how long did they want to extend you for?
Another 2.
That's for 1 year.
No, but there's the other thing we had in common. It was right out of boot camp. So the other thing we had in common is I said frequently, I think I've made a huge mistake. So it's like under my breath.
Development, I think I've made a huge mistake.
I think I've made a huge mistake. So I wanted to talk more about what it is that Stack Up is doing now, because I realize, we're both in Los Angeles. We're in the same, you're over at 283 and I'm at 483. So we're in the same district and everything. So I want to know what Stack Up is doing, and I want to see because someone tried this a few years ago, but no one had the expertise to pull it off. They tried to do a American Legion in SoCal kind of gaming tournament.
Oh, Lord.
Now, I wouldn't participate in it, obviously, because I would just get fragged immediately. But I even said fragged. See, I'm part of this. So I'm just curious more like what is in the Stack Up suite of services, and can any of it translate into American Legion land?
Yes, and that's part of the goal. Like we're trying to having our headquarters out here in Los Angeles. Part of that is going to be working with the Legions, obviously being 283, trying to get them to, because I tried working with 43 back in the day, and they are focused primarily on Hollywood, like trying to get them to go video game. Like they were focused on the silver screen, and that was it. And what I was bringing to them was not it. So they didn't have time for me. And then 283 said, what? We're definitely interested, because obviously we represent a lot of post 9/11 veterans, young folks. And so, but everybody we talk to out here wants to do a tournament, and everybody's just like, we'll just do a tournament like you do. And it's like, okay, well, what's your budget for the tournament? It's like, budget? Oh, I don't know, video games, right? Like, it's like, no, that takes a lot of money and energy to put together. Like, we're going to need people. We're going to need we're going to need consoles. We're going to need bandwidth. We're going to need like all this stuff to make it happen. And people are just like, it's the, I don't know, just put a Band-Aid on it mindset. Like, because they see like Madison Square Garden and events happening there where it's like, oh, there's 50,000 screaming video game fans and they're watching these professional teams playing. How can we get that, like a piece of that out here? And it's like, that's still a lot. So, and I keep reminding people we're a mental health charity. Like, yes, we do gaming, but we don't have the bandwidth to put together like a tournament, and people don't recognize how much work and time and energy it takes to put one of those things on. They just think, just play video games, right? Just, that's what it is. And it's like, a lot more. So, but we are going to figure it out. That is obviously every conversation I had leads to video game tournaments. So it's one of those things like, I guess we're going to have to hire somebody to help us with this, because it's inevitable, but it's not what I want to be doing because it's such.
So what is it? What is it that you want to be doing with reference to the Legion?
So the thing that we're looking at right now, the headquarters we're setting up out here is one part Airbnb, one part community center, and one part office space for us. So the idea is we're flying veterans out from all over the country to take them to places here in Hollywood, Disneyland, Activision Blizzard, Studio Santa Monica, or Sony Santa Monica, things like that. The community center is where we're going to look to try to work with the American Legion as far as setting up days to come out to the house, which this is a mansion in essence. And the mansion will have everything you need as far as like you have land gaming consoles and computers. We're going to have piles of board games and it's a geek house. It's an esports house in essence. And the idea is to bring guys out for the day, load them up on pizza and energy drinks, and kind of get them out of there, get them together via community through this Sprinter vehicle and just bringing them back to the house. So that's a start anyway. The goal eventually is to have a full service community center in Los Angeles, funded by both LA County and the American Legion. That's the goal. But in order for us to get there, we need to show that we're doing the work already and that we're legit. We can't just walk up and say, hey, we need $3 million to set up this, set up the center downtown. We need to show that we're supporting LA veterans. And in order for us to do that, we just need to start doing it. Like, we need to start bringing those numbers. We can't just be like, we really would like to do this, and could you just give me a blank check? Like, that's not going to fly, nor would I expect it to. I mean, maybe it would work, but I'm not even going to go down that road. We're not ready for it anyway. We need to massage it into place and make sure that LA County knows who we are, and that they're very excited. They're very excited about us. Like, we represent just absolute lunacy compared to the normal people they get at these VA events. Like, it's just,
wow.
I mean, well, you think about it.
If you guys represent lunacy in this community, I'm a little frightened myself.
Well, it's so different than what everybody else is doing. It's like, well, you could go do golf, or you could like maybe finger paint with the VA. I don't know. Like, then we come rolling in and kick the door in, and it's like, hey, you want to go? You know, it's just, we're the cool uncle charity, I guess you could say, where it's like, hey kids, you want to go do this? Like, oh shit, that sounds great. So that's, and you know, we kind of, oh, you can't swear. All right.
No, you're good to go.
Keep it going.
Go.
Yes. Can we get this clipped? Yes.
So yes, you know, we're our booth is sitting right next to the veteran crisis line. It's like, yes, we are also doing, you know, suicide prevention, but we're just doing it a different way. And we're doing it in a way that, I don't want to say we're tricking veterans into feeling better, but we definitely represent the candy coated shell over the bitter pill of mental health awareness, and just having guys. I mean, you knew barracks rats back in the day who would not leave their rooms. They didn't interact with anybody. They didn't do anything with anybody. And those are the guys that were like, the example I use is, once upon a time, we were working with Wounded Warrior. We were partnering with them back in Pittsburgh, and then we did an event there at their headquarters. And the organizer came running over to me, and he was like, we got this guy. We've been trying to get him out to one of our events for 3 years. He hasn't left his house in 3 years. And he's coming to this event because he's a huge gamer and it's all he does. And we're so excited that I finally got to this guy. And I'm like, that's it. That's exactly it. The people who get us and the veterans who understand what we're bringing to the table are really excited. And then the Jeffs of the world who are like, I don't get it. But they eventually, those kids who were raised on iPads with Minecraft and Fortnite on it are going to be our next round of veterans and service members and congressmen and senators and captains of industry, and they'll all understand gaming. So we kind of are like the rock and roll is the devil's music phase of video gaming. And eventually it's just going to be accepted by everybody. Like, it's $180 billion industry. It's outstripping sports, Hollywood, and the music industry combined right now. So you can't argue with those numbers. And seeing is how much gaming is a part of your average veteran's life nowadays. We just represent a new way of approaching veterans where they don't feel they're being pandered to. I guess that works. Yeah, I'll go with that. That's my answer. Ran out of steam on that. I guess, all right, I'm done.
No.
Yeah,
Mr. Stevie.
We've been there. You know what? Let's take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back with Steven in just a minute.
The American Legion is Veterans Strengthen America. We're in your community, supporting veterans, service members, and their families, enriching the lives of young people and promoting citizenship and patriotism. Our members are passionate about these core values. Help strengthen America by joining the American Legion today. For more information, go to legion.org/join.
All right, so Stephen, we obviously talked a lot at convention, and comparing it to golf and everything else. Like, I don't think it's actually all that much different than golf, but I agree entirely with you that as long as you get veterans together in one place, kind of moving in the same general direction, you generally get therapy. And I know from Afghanistan that anytime you hook up 2 Xboxes, you will drag people in about a 30-mile radius into the room to either play or watch. And I've been that same way. I don't know if you were tossing it out to me on the Activision Blizzard thing, but yes. Like I would love to go to Activision Blizzard. I mean, like I'm a Blizzard guy. Like talk to me about how does the therapy work? And in essence, like, when you put the gaming, like, where does the therapy come in? Like, I know where it comes in for me is just kind of dragging me out of being locked in my room watching Netflix. But where does it come for everyone else? What is the therapy that you guys see from Stack Up's point of view?
I recently, with all my LA County shenanigans I've been engaging in, I recently heard the phrase recreation therapy, and I was like, oh, that's pretty good. That's a lot of it. And again, it's us outside of our Overwatch program, which is literally somebody sitting down and saying, hey, I need to talk to somebody right now. The idea of gaming being used for therapy, there's the VA's most recent training on veteran suicide. There's a variety of positive factors that go into helping counter suicide, and a bunch of them are like puzzle solving and here it is, risk and protective factors, sense of connectedness, problem solving skills, mission or purpose, social and emotional well-being. And those are all video game related traits. Yep. I mean, if you've ever played a puzzle game or worked with a group of people to put together a raid in World of Warcraft, like you understand, like you are a leader in a way that you feel needed, you feel like connected with a group of people, you have purpose, all these things that are key that nobody who understands that they're getting help is getting at that point in time. It's like, all right, if you hand a guy, you say you're going to go do, 9 rounds of golf, or no, I don't even know the lingo, but my point is, hey, you're going to go play golf for 4 hours with a bunch of veterans, and you're going to smoke and joke and you're going to talk. At the end of that, there's a pretty good chance you're going to feel better. You're not going to be able to understand why outside of just having played golf for 4 hours. But a big piece, that's kind of where gaming comes in, where we can dovetail in with a lot of organizations like, Team Red, White, and Blue and Rubicon and all these other organizations. Like, all right, they're out there doing disaster relief in Haiti, or they're building a school somewhere, or et cetera, they're training for a marathon. And at the end of the day, they're all sitting on a couch after they eat and they're all playing video games. Yep. And so that's where we're a 24/7 service. We represent the opportunity to reach guys in a time where everybody else is asleep. A lot of guys have trouble sleeping, and we've got guys that are available all the time for folks. So if somebody needs to come in and talk, or they just want to get in a game, or they just want to find somebody to jaw jack with, we're available. And that's part of our community aspect. But it's tricky to show, like,
no, I get entirely what you're saying. And I particularly feel that way about co-op video games.
Yeah.
Where, World of Warcraft's a pretty good example, where you have each person has their own individual role. And if any one of you screws up, the whole group is kind of doomed. Yep. And while that may sound like a bad thing, it gives you your own sense of purpose. Like, look, damn it, I'm the healer and I'm going to heal. I don't care. Like, I totally get what you're saying. Like, it's hard to pinpoint exactly where it is, but in particular, I know that with co-op video games, it gives you a sense of importance within a team that you might not necessarily feel since you got out of the military.
Yeah. World of Warcraft came out 3 weeks after I got back from Iraq, and I was sitting in a parking lot in Fort Lewis at a Walmart, just waiting for it to open. Cause I knew that was something special, but
right.
I got a hold of it. And that was the thing I was doing 12 hours a day, because I was struggling reacclimating to society. And so I didn't want to deal with anybody. So I was just running dungeons in World of Warcraft, and it was great. It was the thing that kind of massaged my brain back into a position where I could go be normal again. But yeah, things like doing complex tasks in games like raids and things like that, they're a pain in the ass to put together, but there's a feeling of accomplishment that when you are able to pull it off together with a group of guys, that you're in a platoon or you're in a squad of guys together, and they're doing everything the way it needs to be done. And it's a thing of wonder. So yeah, that's a big piece of it right now. And a lot of games now are multiplayer. There's a lot of multiplayer opportunities out there, not just first person shooters, but MMOs, as Mark was talking about. And they represent, like, if you're having trouble dealing with people, they are a great place to go lose 3 hours of yourself, just mining gold, or, making potions, or just like busy work to keep your brain keep you outside of your head, which works out great. It forces you to do, like, things like movies and reading books. They're great, but it's hard to focus. If you're not paying attention and you're not focused, you can't progress in what you're doing. Whereas in this activates a part of your brain that kind of really turns the rest of your brain off, which is really nice. So
Ashley, make sure that your husband listens to this, because it's the exact reason I haven't made it through Loki yet. It's not a lack of interest. It's just it's not as interactive as I would like.
That is
a pretty good series,
for
actually.
You and him.
That,
That's all I'm saying.
And believe me, when I find free time, I'm going to make it to finish Loki. But all right, Ashley, close us out if you would.
All right, Steven, where can we find you? You know, what's your Instagram handle? How can we support? Let us know where you're at.
All right. So stackup.org, stackup.org is a lot of our social media handles. That's Twitter, that's Instagram, that's even TikTok, believe it or not. Even that one I'm surprised at. The website stackup.org. It's that easy. Just type it in. If you need help, if you know someone who's a gamer or needs help, needs a community to interact with, or somebody that you think might, our services might be of value, somebody who's deployed forward, or, head over there, fill out a form. We've got forms for days as far as different programs we can get your friend or significant other into, and we can get them taken care of. So that's where you can find us.
Awesome.
All right, great. Well, Steven, thank you very much for joining us, and we appreciate you spending a little bit of time with us. Pew, pew, pew.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on, Mark. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. All right, everybody else, we will be back in 30 seconds.
Disabled veterans, disadvantaged children, and military families all need American Legion services, and that old car on your property simply needs to go away. Help us help others by donating your car to the American Legion. It's easy, convenient, and tax deductible. Visit legion.careasy.org today or call 844-4LEGION. That's 844-453-4466.
We are now back. Ashley Garbolja, what did you take away from this one?
So I am super excited. I love what Steven is doing, recognizing that, our active duty military personnel face extraordinary, pressure in line of duty, and having this outlet of why video games can help with mental illness and suicide prevention is just so positive and uplifting. The programs that he has created and his commitment to having some sort of center or hub in LA, and being able to take care of veterans on their different levels of needs, I think is just incredibly important. Also super excited that as I was on their website that he got to hang out with Dr. Disrespect, which is like a first person shooter, like a social / video game influencer. He's got like a black mullet and really cool sunglasses. I don't know. My husband introduced me to him, and I think he's a character, and I'm looking at these photos. I'm so inspired.
Hold on a second. Your husband introduced you to a guy named Dr. Disrespect? Oh, wow. He is something special, isn't he? All right.
Yeah.
Now I get it now. All right. I Googled him. I mean, that is a spectacular mustache. That man could.
Yes.
Yeah, that guy could solve crimes just with that mustache alone. All right, Jeff Daly, what do you got on this one?
I heard a lot of words today. And interestingly, he's a linguist, and I was trying to translate all of this video game stuff. It's a lot for me. I don't play video games. I've never played video games. I owned an Xbox once in my home, and my ex-girlfriend played it almost exclusively. It was never me. But I do understand the idea of congregating people in something that is theirs, right? So, we've talked about wind therapy for some people. We have, at his post, actually, Andre Andrews runs, the thing with the horses, the equine therapy, and we have people jumping out of planes. We have people doing all sorts of things, and video gaming is another one of those things. Then it's something we just need to support, because individuals are, by definition, individual, and they have their own things that they like and connect with. And I think we're finding out in the science of healing and the science of therapy that it's not just a single school of thought on how to get somebody to where they need to be. And I think he's Steven. I didn't get into his nickname, Shanghai Six, by the way. I think Steven is a great spokesperson for that thing that he is most passionate about. And when I talk to him, I'm going to see if maybe we can get a video game set up outside, because like I always like to say, I played outside. I'd never played video games, so maybe I can play a video game outside, and we'll figure that out. So that's my takeaway. I love the energy and the passion that he brings to this, and it makes me like at least partially interested, at least in what they're doing. I don't know if I'm not going to go buy a PlayStation tomorrow, but I do see the mission, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, I've long. I don't care if it's knitting, cooking, underwater basket weaving, playing video games, golfing. Just get people together. Give them a reason to get out of the house. If you told me that across the street right now a bunch of veterans were meeting for therapy, there's zero chance I would cross the street. If you told me that I had to drive to Ohio to play World of Warcraft with a bunch of people, I would probably do it. It's, you got to find everybody's trigger. And I firmly believe that no matter what activity you're doing, if you get veterans together, it will lead to therapy. And it literally could be, with the obvious exception of something destructive. I mean, it's not forming a criminal gang here or anything, but I'm just saying in general, when you have things like this, it does lead to therapy. I'm looking at Dr. Disrespect, and I'm glad you brought him to my attention, Ashley. I am going to model his aesthetic personality. I'm going to grow my mullet out and my mustache and maybe a little soul patch. Yeah, I'm gonna copy this guy right down to the.
Oh my! Please.
I am not going to do that.
If not for me, for Robert.
Wow. See, everyone has their trigger, and she just pulled mine. I got to do it for Robert. Do it for Robert.
No trigger pulling on this show.
Kidding.
Yes. All right, folks, that is going to be it for us today. We have run way over, so all of us have things to do, and I'm sure you do too. Ashley, show us off with what people should do.
All righty.
Click, 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 click. She's trying
to find it now. Click. Don't sound so excited about it.
What? Remember to subscribe to Tango Alpha Lima on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you listen to podcasts. And while you're there, review and rate us, preferably 5 stars. If you want to send us feedback, you can comment on our YouTube or Facebook pages. In addition, you can send us an email at tangoalphalima@legion.org. And we look forward to seeing you next week.
Later, guys.